Beyond Sustenance goes dark. Yeah, that's the last thing you want if you've just watched some of the videos about my struggles dealing with the breakup and all of the heavy stuff that I just put out. Uh, this one is thoroughly tongue in cheek in the title. The Going Dark is the eclipse, the great eclipse of 2017, that we went to Murphy, North Carolina, in the far southwestern corner of the state to see, with a stop in Charlotte along the way. Met some really awesome people, saw some cool stuff. We obviously ate some good food, and found a really neat place to stay that I did go back and revisit later, and I will be covering that in another video, or that may be two or three parter. Also, have another eclipse video that will definitely be more than one part for the great eclipse of 2024, which I saw in Arkansas, just outside of Mountain View, Arkansas, at the Ozark Folk Arts Center. Um, Both of those I have put off for personal reasons, and I think it's about time I stop putting stuff off like that. That I just need to face it head on and get through it. Anyway, this one is not going to be bad, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you what we got to see there. It's not going to be the same in a video. The experience of an eclipse, the changing weather, we'll get into all that later. Anyway, thanks for joining. For those who just wanted to see an eclipse, there you go. Thanks for watching, running the numbers up. Please subscribe and tell a friend. For the rest of you, onto the food. Stop for barbecue in Charlotte. Plain barbecue with multiple different sauces, and I tried them all. Two different kinds of coleslaw, the red vinegar based and the white mayonnaise based. I preferred the white, but liked them both because, food. Neat place, clean, good food, nice people, awesome decorations, classic cars in the restaurant, Mr. Cool chilling there with the baseball cap on backwards. But the one thing I will remember most of all is this creepy dude on the Coca-Cola ad on the outside of the building, and the Jesus-loving, Satan sucks biker dude we saw on the way out. Stopped again in Asheville at an Italian place we had a Groupon for. The salad was pretty good. The food was mediocre. Remember thinking I wish somebody would combine TripAdvisor with Groupon so you could know which places are worth using the deal on. If any of my friends do coding, there you go. Give me a little something if you make money off of it. After that, we stopped in the River Arts District in Asheville, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. First hit a thrift store, did a little goofing around in there, and then visited the galleries. This place, it's an old industrial, like, barn building. Lots of neat stuff, but I love this honor system thing. Like, I'm leaving you money to make change in an envelope. It just made me want to buy something, and I really wonder how effective it was. Like it maybe increasing her sales, and if anyone ever stole, I like to believe that the trust created trustworthiness. Anyways, not going to show you all the pictures of the place, but I highly recommend going. They've got some high dollar fancy stuff. They've got some independent artists in these little booths. You get to meet a lot of them. Just really check this place out if you get the chance. After the Arts District, we went to the Biltmore Estate. Did not actually take a tour of the building, but visited some of the outside exhibits, especially the antique car museum. Just really cool for something that seems like an afterthought. Um, and then we took the Blue Ridge Parkway in. It made for a much longer ride, but a much more enjoyable one. Of course, we had to take the obligatory selfies, and because it took so long. These mom and pop places, they have to man the front desk themselves. They ended up calling us to see if we were actually going to show up that night. But arrive we did at River Cove Cabins, and Gary, the owner, had fires burning in the pits. The game rooms are open all night. You have table tennis, darts. There's a horseshoe pit, which is really no good at night, as well as badminton, which is right next to our cabin. 7 cabins. Most of them are like one room. I think one has a fireplace. There's a jacuzzi. One there is a 2 bedroom. There's a couple of piers. You've got all sorts of really cool decorations, places to sit and enjoy the scenery. It's right on the Nodelly River, southwest of Murphy. It's a TVA river. There's a reservoir upstream and downstream, and there are hydroelectric dams at each one, and they run them just in the afternoon for peak demand. And it takes a while for the water to get there, so you will see the water start to rise in the evening. The river will be very clear and low in the morning, and then it'll start rushing and get cloudy. It'll also fog up as that cold water comes through, and cold air builds up in the river banks. It's really weird. You can step down and feel your feet get cold in the mist while your body is hot. Um, I think we paid about $250 for 3 nights here. I have stayed there for a week. Got the $500 deal. Really, just awesome, awesome place. We had s'mores. I made s'mores with Reese cups. Gary and Wanda were the owners until about 2 years ago, and they sold out. I've heard good things about the new owners also. Just a place, if you don't need the continental breakfast and all the amenities, and don't mind a place that's a little bit dated, highly, highly recommend this place. It's quiet, but it's convenient. But the thing I remember most is how much fun we had. Goofy things happened. Something crazy happened during table tennis, and Thaddeus laughed so hard he couldn't breathe. Had to take his glasses off and just wipe the tears out of the lenses. The next morning, after gorging ourselves on the $5.99 all-you-could-eat pizza buffet, we decided to check out the town. It may be small, it may be quiet, but it is certainly alive. A lot of mom and pop businesses. You could spend all day shopping there, and they pulled out all the stops to be ready for this big event. The place we stumbled upon last was the Warehouse, WHERE house, run by a lady who just, she greeted us, gave us cold waters, gave us hot dogs, no charge. A lot of places were, scalping, trying to rip people off. Churches selling parking spots and $7 hot dogs. But she was just all about welcoming people in and making new friends. So we did decide that we were going to spend the next day there, and we were glad that we did, because her business partner brought in brisket that he had smoked, his own electronic telescope, um, just all sorts of great stuff. And we had a live radio broadcast there, and the live music was awesome. We socialized with them all day, and just couldn't have asked for a better spot to check out the Eclipse. It's only right that you should play the way you can. Listen carefully to the sound of loneliness, like a heartbeat drives you mad. Great music. But as far as the eclipse goes, the first thing you notice are the crescent shapes in the shadows of the trees. We did catch the reflection of the eclipse in some used motor oil. As it got closer, the temperature started dropping, the crickets started chirping. Doesn't show well here, but the some of the street lights and the security lights started coming on. It was very strange. It was like an accelerated sunset in the middle of the afternoon. And then it was over. So the town of Andrews, maybe a dozen miles up the road, was referred to in the media as Totality Town, North Carolina, for having the longest totality of the eclipse in the state. Murphy was just a few miles away, maybe 5 seconds less. We had fewer crowds and yet lost nothing. Um, so, anyway, leaving, we saw very little traffic. Decided to drive past our cabin into Tennessee, made a left into Georgia, loop back around. It was a 20-minute loop from our campsite back to our campsite through 3 states. But coming back up, we saw all the traffic that was heading in from Andrews, and I did this really cool time lapse video just to show how many cars were up there in the place that we avoided. So I hope you guys get as much of a kick out of this as I did. Back home the next day, and of course, we had to stop for one good meal on the way at Cowfish Grill, which is a fusion sushi burger joint with some terrific alcoholic and non alcoholic milkshake and a really cool decor. Highly, highly, highly recommend this place. I love it. It's in North Raleigh. Um, Check it out if you like sushi and burgers, or even if you just like one of them and you have somebody with you you can share. I've made excuses to stop there several more times since then. In the last series, I covered a simultaneous emotional and geographic journey. And I really think that any kind of travel is more than going one place to another. As much as I am a nerd and I really enjoyed the Eclipse, and as much as I like the food and I like travel and seeing new things, there's always something more. Mark Twain said that travel is fatal to prejudice, and I think that's true. That you see people who are different and you learn different things, but also there's always something more. I had a solo trip that was about healing and growing and building confidence, and in this case, you know, I had not been able to see Thaddeus a whole lot, and this was a great excuse to see him and be with him night and day for several days, and to laugh really hard and to just enjoy really memorable experiences. And experiences are things you can buy something, and maybe it lasts a year or 10 years, but eventually it's gone, and you may forget it or at least not appreciate it much later. But the memories of experiences are so worth it, and if you share it with somebody, even more so. I really think that it was an amazing thing, and it was probably the cost of a car payment. $250 for the place we stayed. We had some cheap meals, packed a few things. Cowfish was one expensive thing, and then gas. So maybe $500 or so. Money well. I can't think of too many things I spent $500 on that had such a lasting impact. So do it. Go places, do things, experience new things, meet new people, but also, bring someone you care about or someone you want to get to know better, and it's a bonding thing. Um, do it. It's not just about going from point A to point B. Thanks for joining me on this, and I look forward to doing a double sequel, a sequel to the Town of Murphy, and also a sequel to the Eclipse at some point. Eat well and be well.